everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Common Fiber podcast. I am your host, Sarah Stevens. I'm coming to you from Spokane, Washington. It's where I live and I work and I do all of the crafty things here with my family. Today is Sunday, January 10th, 2021 for reference. It has been a week since I last did a podcast, and I just wanted to say thank you all so very much for such a warm welcome. I did not expect to have so many people come over from the Hello Grace podcast and give me so much support for podcasting on here. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you all. It has been, like I said, a week since I last filmed, and I feel like so much has happened. I did get a few projects finished. I did start a new project. I did do some work on a languishing project, and I can't wait to show you all about it. So, I guess we'll go ahead and just jump right in. This is like the 5th time I've started filming this podcast because something has gone wrong every single time. I'm really hoping that the sound quality and the picture is much better, but I guess only time will tell. We'll just see when we upload this one, and if not, then we'll just try something new. But I did, however, get my Grace socks completed. If you remember, if you watched the other episode, if you remember, I was really nervous. It was a partial skein. I did not think that I was going to have enough yarn, but lo and behold, there was enough. I'm so happy. I'm happy that, one, I decided to knit fewer rounds on the cuff and the leg and the foot, because if I had not, I would not have had enough to complete these socks. But I went ahead and did 10 rounds on the cuff, 50 for the leg and the foot, and then the heel and toe were just standard, and that ended up being enough. I wish I could have weighed it so I could tell you how much it used, but I've lost my scale over the last few months, so I don't know how much it actually weighed. So that's okay. So I got those done. I did knit those on a Knit Pro or Knitter's Pride Carbons 2.0 millimeter needle. That's a US size 0. That's kind of my standard knitting for socks. That's the standard needle size that I use. So I should show you. I am halfway through my cappuccino yet this morning now after all of this filming. But I am drinking a cappuccino in this cute mug that my family got me for Christmas. It's, again, one of those Magnolia Hearth and Homes pottery mugs, but I love it. It's huge. It probably fits like 16 ounces, no joke, in this. So it's great. I love this mug. This is kind of my, when I need a lot of coffee and it's clean, this is my go-to. Okay, so after I finished those, as you all know, I decided this year to do again the 12 stash skeins minimum, and so I wound up a little more than 12 skeins and some partial skeins in there, and I was just decided to work through them. So I went ahead and pulled out another skein as soon as I finished up my Grace one, and I used a skein of, is this Adelaide Cottage? Yeah, Adelaide Cottage, and it was on her Golden Twinkle base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. This was a Lorelei's Dream. I feel like this was possibly a Gilmore Girls Club colorway. I did not participate in the Gilmore Girl Club. However, somebody did send this to me as a gift, and I did finish these guys. I am super happy with them. They are my standard 7.5 size. I did do a 20 rounds for the cuff, 60 for the leg and foot, and a standard heel. So these guys are done. That is 2 pairs of socks done and ready to go. Oh, and just so you can see like the difference that makes, how much less yarn I used on the other ones. Anyways, that makes me so happy that I have 2 finished pairs now that can go in my gifting bin for this next year. So after that, I kind of was looking at all of my scraps of yarn. I do have a substantial amount left over. And so, okay. So I went through, I was noticing that I had a million scraps, just like this. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with them. I already have a million scrappy blankets that I'm using all of my scraps up towards, and I don't need any more scrappy blankets. So I gathered a bunch of scraps and I decided to start making some scrappy slippers. I'm using the Simple House slippers, and they are by Simone Alexandra of Temple of Knit on Ravelry. There are 2 different versions to the pattern. I don't think that they are different in any way. There is a free pattern on her blog, or his blog, and that is perfectly fine. There's just a lot of pictures and things that print out along with it, or there is a $3 pattern available and it's just a PDF. So I went ahead and just purchased that $3 pattern. One, because it's kind of nice to just be able to support those designers, especially when they give you a free option as well. I don't know, they took the time to do both of them, so it just felt right. But so using my scraps, I got 1 slipper done. I did knit the smallest size, and I held 2 yarns double for this part, and then another 2 yarns double for this part. It is a DK weight pattern, but I think it turned out super cute, so I'm pretty happy with them. This is kind of what they look like. I have knit this pattern before, and I did follow the free pattern version because I feel like at that time there actually wasn't a paid for pattern. So anywho, I got those done, which was super exciting. And then the next skein of yarn, oh no, I'm going to tell you about my Guthrie. So I finished my other socks and my slippers by yesterday, and I thought that I would pick up my Guthrie on the weekends and try and get a little bit of progress on any sweaters. Actually, not just my Guthrie, but as I start knitting through sweaters, I'm really going to focus my weekends on my sweater knitting. So hopefully I don't have this problem anymore. But I did make some progress yesterday. So I went ahead and I got through a little over half of the second sleeve. I'm really pleased with it. I do find it really funny how different I'm using the same yarn as from the bottom of the sweater. It's not a new cake, but it looks very different than the body. There's like a lot more oranges and reds in this one. It's okay though. I actually am not bothered by it at all. I just notice it. It doesn't bother me. It just is something that I notice. But it's the back and the front. So I think later on today I am going to work on this a little bit more, and maybe I can at least get through the color work and have this done by next week for next week's podcast. That would be great. If I am done with this, it would be even better because I did order some yarn for my next sweater cast on, and that is the Felix cardigan. No, I'm doing the Felix pullover, and that is an Amy Christoffers pattern. There are 5 sizes available for that pattern. It is a $7 pattern, and I'm going to go ahead and knit the second size. It requires about 700 yards of Aran weight yarn. I ordered some Lopi. It's more of a worsted weight yarn, but I ordered a little bit more, so I feel like I'm going to be okay. I don't know. If not, I'll just make the sleeves a little shorter anyways. I prefer more of a 3/4 length sleeve than I do a full sleeve. And that's because I end up rolling my sleeves anyways because my knitting needles get stuck in them when I'm knitting with DPNs. If they come like below or if they come above my bracelet, they hit, and that drives me crazy. So yeah, I'll just make the sleeves a little shorter and it'll be just fine. But that's my next sweater cast on. I did like a little bit of an inventory. I wrote down a goal that I wanted to complete 4 sweaters this year, and I thought that was a pretty lofty goal. But then, and I think I felt that way because last year I had a goal, not last year, but last year, scratch that. Last year I did not have a goal, but last year I did not knit any sweaters. I did not knit a single one. So having a goal this year of 4 sweaters seemed really lofty. But then when I went back and looked, in 2018 I knit 5 sweaters, and in 2019 I knit 7 sweaters. So it's very doable for 4, I feel like. I know that I had a lot of car knitting those years because of competitive soccer and competitive cheer, but I still feel like it's doable. So I may up my sweater goal to 6, I guess is what I'm saying, but I'll decide that later. I guess I'll decide after I get actually working on my first sweater. We'll see. So after that, this morning, as I was pouring my first cup of coffee and gathering all of this stuff for this episode, I needed just a plain vanilla something to work on in the morning. That's typically how I start my mornings, is just my coffee and some just mindless knitting. So I decided to cast on to the next pair of socks. This is a skein of yarn that I dyed. It's Pink Tulips. It was one of my Easter colorways. It is an 80-20 base, so there's 400 yards, 80% merino, 20% nylon, and it's just this beautiful pink skein with flecks of purples and reds and oranges, and I love it. So obviously I'm not dyeing yarn anymore, but that's going to be really fun. I did get most of the cuff done on that. And the reason why I picked that skein of yarn is because somebody had brought it to my attention that there is another knit along going on with Jules from So Sweet Violet and Kelly from Lay Family Yarn. They are co-hosting a Rainbow Sock Chronicles, and it is a year-long knit along. I believe that the chatter is going on in Jules' Ravelry group, and the FOs are going on or being placed in Kelly's Ravelry group, but they have set out each month is this color scheme of yarn, and January just so happens to be pink. So I thought, I'm already doing, this 12 skeins minimum anyways. Why not play along? I'm knitting socks, so it'll be super fun to, at the end of the year, definitely have that rainbow of socks if I can do that. So I've got those started. I do plan to have those done next week, along with the second slipper and that Guthrie sweater. Okay, so on to stash acquisitions. I was not going to purchase any yarn really this year, minus a small yarn budget. of, it sounds so silly, but $20 a paycheck is kind of what I allotted to my yarn budget this year, because I have so much yarn downstairs that needs to be used up anyways. But I went ahead and did purchase a couple skeins from Hue Loco, and as always, Nicole did such a beautiful job, and I wanted to show you them. I did pre-purchase them, like basically I can't order any more yarn until June, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. And my goal is that I'm going to try and get through 4 of my stash skeins before I use one of her skeins anyways, which shouldn't be a problem. But this is Wood Nymph. It's on her Phyllis sock, which is a 75-25 merino nylon base. It's so pretty. It's purples and greens, and I just feel like it's very springtime. I got this one. It's Beach Glass. It's also on her Phyllis sock, and it's more of a moody skein. I felt like this was also a very like foggy springtime colorway. I thought it would be really fun to knit. Then I purchased 4 50-gram minis because truthfully, this is enough yarn to make a smaller pair of socks. I've found. And if I wanted to make a larger pair, I would just need to do a contrasting toe, and I have tons of scrap yarn that I can use for that. So this one is Slay. It's on her Phyllis base. I thought that was beautiful. This is one of her newer colorways. This is Honey. This one is on her merino sock. This is the 80-20 colorway, or 80-20 base. This is Polaris. This one is super fun. I think I'm gonna love knitting with that one. And this one is also on her merino sock base. It's the 80-20, and this one is Mum's the Word, and I believe this is a new colorway also. So I'm really excited about those. I only have one more skein of yarn after this one before I can cast one of these guys on. So that's really fun. Okay, last but not least by any means, Dawn from Chasing Rabbits Fiber. Her and I reached out to her because I wanted to design a hat in remembrance of my mom, and I reached out to her and said, would you please dye a colorway that I can use for that? And it's gonna be a hat, and I think I want to use a DK base. And she said, I'm on it. So I let her know my mom's favorite color was purple, and she came up with this one. She named it Remember. It's beautiful. It's on her Polworth DK. It's 100% superwash New Zealand Polworth wool. There's approximately 225 meters or 246 yards in each skein. So I'm really excited to start designing a hat around this colorway. It just is, it's stunning. So that is going to be one of my projects this month as well. I would really love to have this hat out in a couple of months. So it would even be really cool if this hat was out before October, obviously, because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so anyways, that right there is happening, and she sent along one of her cute stickers. So I'm going to be putting this on my Nalgene bottle. But that is everything for this week. I feel like that's a lot. I feel like it's been a productive week. So anyways, I encourage you all, if you have a chance to pop on over to the Ravelry group and comment. I'll put some show notes down there. I was going to do show notes down at the bottom here, but I think I'm going to leave show notes for the Ravelry group. It's just easier for me. If there's any links, I'll add links down below so it's easy for you to access. For instance, Dawn's yarn or Nicole's yarn. I'll go ahead and link those below. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I can't wait to chat with you again next weekend.